there's one Bluey character we all want to see more of, it's Aunt Brandy, Chili's sister. Can you imagine if the show's 4th season gave us an episode telling her backstory? It would be the perfect opportunity to explore Chili's family history, since the episode could show what it was like for Brandy, Chili's sister, to be Bluey's mom's older sister back when they were kids. It would be amazing to see the kind of dynamic they had, just like Fairy Tale showed us what Bandit's relationship with his brothers was like. Brandy, Chili's sister, was the older sister, so she was the one who had to take responsibility for Chili. You can almost picture her feeling a bit overwhelmed having to watch over her while their parents were busy. Little did Brandy know, this would awaken in her a desire to become a mother that only grew stronger with time. We wouldn't just see many versions of Brandy, Chili's sister, and Chili. We'd also get the chance to finally see what their mom looked like. All we know about her comes from Chili's story in the Dragon episode, which suggests her mom was a wise and patient woman who encouraged her to keep drawing. This episode would let us see that firsthand and also show what Brandy's own relationship with her mother was like. Could it be that unlike Chili, Brandy, Chili's sister, had some issues with their parents? See how many stories and messages could come from her life? Let's go over several things an episode about Brandy's past could explore. So jump right in with us. It's time for another Cinewave. An episode focused on Brandy's past couldn't just skip one of the most important parts of her life. Her desire to be a mother and her many failed attempts to have a child due to fertility problems. Exploring that in more depth would make perfect sense, especially after Brandy, Chili's sister, revealed she was pregnant in the episode The Sign. In fact, it would be amazing if the present-day portion of the story took place while she's in labor, about to have her baby. During that time, she could start remembering all the important moments in her life. Even knowing she's finally about to become a mom, she wouldn't forget the traumatic years she spent trying to have a pup and failing every time. But that would make her happy in a way, realizing she never gave up, and in the end, got what she wanted. While Brandy is remembering things, we could also see how she managed to get pregnant. It's clear she has some sort of genetic issues that kept her from conceiving all this time, so her pregnancy probably only happened after some special medical treatment or something like that. Unless, of course, it really was a miracle, which would also be pretty cool. Since we're talking about memories, this episode would have to, in one way or another, address the trauma Brandy and Chili share from the day their mother passed away. The episode could give more details about what happened, maybe showing their mom starting to get sick or something along those lines. Brandy and the rest of the family probably thought it was nothing, until it was too late. The show probably wouldn't go too deep into the subject, but it would leave enough hints for sharp-eyed viewers to understand the backstory. Exactly the way Bluey loves to approach heavier themes, which is one of the things that makes this series so great. It would be really interesting to see how Brandy reacted to the news that her mom was gone, and how it differed from her younger sister's reaction. Being older, Brandy likely realized the seriousness of the situation more quickly, and from that moment on, had to take care of her little sister like a real mom. We could also finally see something the show has never really shown before, Brandy's relationship with her father, Mort. Up until now, we've only seen Chili having deeper interactions with him, and that could change. In this episode, Mort would be much younger, just like Bob, Bandit's dad, in Fairy Tale. But while Bob, Bandit's dad, could barely remember his own kids' names, we think Mort was much more present and even taught survival skills to his daughters, especially Brandy. While Chili had a closer bond with their mom, Brandy had that same kind of connection with their dad. If the episode really focused on the girl's relationship with Mort, one thing we would almost certainly see is him taking his daughters to the lake featured in the episode Granddad, especially since the conversation between Chili and Mort made it clear they had been to that lake many times before. And if you also love Bluey's aunt and would love to see more of her in the show, drop a comment below saying #Brandy. Another scenario that would be so interesting to see from Brandy's perspective is Chili's wedding. This event will almost certainly be shown in a future episode of the show, but we usually imagine it from Chili's point of view, or maybe even Brandy's. However, the creators of Bluey never take the most obvious route, so showing how it was for Brandy to watch her younger sister's wedding would be the less predictable and honestly probably the more interesting choice. In this scenario, we'd see the evolution of Brandy and Chili's relationship, from the two of them as little kids to reaching this huge milestone, with Brandy helping her little sister handle the whole wedding experience. We know how Chili sometimes ends up blaming herself when things go wrong, like she does in Baby Race when she realizes baby Bluey is taking longer to learn how to walk. Brandy must have been essential in keeping her grounded during the wedding. Thinking about it this way, it wouldn't be surprising if Brandy, before she was able to get pregnant, felt a bit jealous of Chili's life. That's something that's kind of implied in the episode where she's first introduced, since seeing her younger sister's kids was clearly too painful for her. It's not that Brandy disliked Chili or anything like that, but it could have led to some arguments between them in the past. Maybe that jealousy goes way back. Chili was their mom's favorite, the first to get a boyfriend, the first to get married, and even the first to have kids. In that case, Brandy might have felt second place her whole life, especially when it came to children, since that's what she had always wanted most. That might have been the last straw that made her go 4 years without visiting Chili and her daughters. But as we see in Onesies, Bluey's aunt regretted isolating herself for all that time. Of course, among all the things this episode could cover, it has to reveal who Brandy's husband is. Since Chili's sister is about to become a mom, it's very likely that she's married. However, her partner has never appeared in any episode, and that needs to change urgently. Since this character doesn't have an official name yet, let's call him Teddy for now. We don't have any proof of what Teddy is like, but our guess is that he'll be a completely different breed. The show has been making a point of giving more screen time to couples of different breeds, like Cornelius, Winton's dad, and the Terrier's mom. Their romance played an important role in The Sign when they stopped the Healer family from moving away, because the dogs who wanted to buy the Healer's house changed their minds after finding out Cornelius's home was for sale since he was moving in with his girlfriend. We imagine Teddy as a very patient and calm guy, just like Brandy, but maybe he wasn't her first husband. It's possible Brandy had another relationship that fell apart when her then husband found out she couldn't have kids. Another dark chapter in Bluey's aunt's life. Fortunately, Teddy loves Brandy above all else and promised to stay with her, with or without kids. That would make it beautifully poetic for Brandy to have revealed her pregnancy in The Sign, the very same episode where Rad marries Frisky, another character who had a toxic relationship before finding the right guy. And in fact, that's yet another couple made up of dogs of different breeds, which only increases the chances of Teddy not being the same breed as Brandy. Even though the episode would focus on Brandy's past, we think the best part would be the ending, taking place in the present, with Brandy in labor finally having her long-awaited child. He would probably be a red healer mixed with another breed inherited from his dad. The boy's name could be Mario, Mort, in honor of Brandy's father. This would be one of the most emotional moments in the entire series, if not the most emotional. I'll cry, you'll cry. In fact, every single Bluey fan, no exceptions, will be dehydrated from all the tears streaming down during this scene. And we can be sure the show will never be the same after this episode, because Brandy and her son will gain a lot of spotlight. Wouldn't it be amazing to see this episode released? While we wait for that to happen, how about clicking the subscribe button so you never miss our daily videos about your favorite animations? And this chance to dive deeper into Brandy's story could also clear up a big question. What's her job? She's appeared so little in the series that we haven't even been able to find that out. The episode could have a montage of scenes showing Chili's sister growing up and along the way getting a job. That way, this mystery would finally be solved. Some fans theorize that Aunt Brandy works in healthcare, maybe as a nurse or even a pharmacist. This makes sense when we remember that her mother passed away, probably due to an illness. She might have decided to learn how to identify diseases and figure out how to treat them so she would never lose a family member like that again. After all, her dad had to undergo surgery for a heart condition. Mort doesn't seem to care much about his own health, so could Brandy have used her medical knowledge to figure out he was sick? The pieces are starting to fall into place, right? The final scene would, of course, have to be Brandy giving birth to her child. But before that, we'd get her last memory before coming back to the present. This moment could be from when Brandy and Chili were kids. They'd be making up after an argument, and in that moment, create a dance move together, the very same one we see them do in the episode Onesies. A scene like that is pure Bluey, connecting episodes while also giving us a heartwarming moment about the sisters' lasting bond. Even with all the years that have gone by, they've never forgotten those small moments they shared with each other. You can click on one of the 2 videos we've left on your screen to keep having fun with us. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!